MBCA tremendously for this honor. But I feel a whole lot more comfortable, gentlemen, now than if I was the first speaker, because what I hear from my family, my assistant coaches, and my kids all the time is, you're way too emotional. So thank you for breaking the ice. I would not be the person today that I am today without my support of my family. My husband Doug has been with me during every season's roller coaster, and although he's never given me an X and O piece of advice, he was always a confidant and a sounding board. He spent many sleepless nights and late nights in film sessions. My children suffered from having an absentee mom for much of their childhood, but grew up to be wonderful people. Daly, Doug's oldest, managed for me during high school. My oldest, Carly, although never played for me, saw nearly every game, even when she was in college. My youngest, Kelsey, played 4 years, the last 4 years for me, and is fitting to leave the game when she is graduating high school. And just a side note, I need to hurry because she has a 4 o'clock game at Kickapoo High School soccer. So. My parents have traveled to many games and have watched me interact with the game in some capacity for nearly 45 years. I could not have asked for a better sports system. In addition, one of my biggest supporters, our district athletic director, Bruce Whitesides, and his wife, are here today. Bruce sent me an article during the season this year, and it was about evaluating what you say in timeouts. Do you spend your time chewing out your players' past mistakes, or do you use it helping your athletes? But don't you think that's a little bold? Maybe. But it describes the kind of relationship I have with him. It was a great read, and I valued someone reminding me of what was really important. In addition, with me here today is a former player and a current longtime assistant, Courtney Haskell. She is terrific. She plans, watches scout film, dialogues with me every day, and doesn't leave practice until I'm at peace with the plan, and you know how long that can be. I simply tell her, every coach needs an assistant like Courtney Haskell. To summarize my time in basketball in 10 minutes is very difficult. It's been an integral part of me since I was a little girl growing up in South Dakota. I remember scooping off the snow in the driveway and shooting baskets till way past dark. I was working so I could be good enough to play with my brother and his friends when they played after school. The problem was I became too good to play with my brother, and he didn't want me playing with his friends after school. Then we moved to Douglas, Wyoming in the middle of my 7th grade year. Douglas had tremendous athletic facilities, and a rec center open to the public most of the year. Until I settled in and found my niche of friends in my new community, I found companionship playing basketball. I spent every day, evening, and weekend playing. I played one-on-one with more Wyoming coal miners than I care to remember. Ironically, it was playing basketball which brought me finally to have a circle of friends in our new community. Our middle school had a morning school basketball league, and my dad always had to drop me off early for school on his way to work. So I watched the teams every morning. Finally, one team needed a player. I was the only one there. And they said, let the girl play with us. I played, and after the game, several girls came up to me and introduced themselves to me. It was basketball that introduced me to my new social group. My experiences in high school were tremendous. I was lucky enough to play on 4 state championships and received a scholarship to play at the University of Missouri. I was not allowed to do my student teaching when I was still playing, so I had to come back this semester and do my student teaching. I was placed at Rockridge High School, and they were kind enough to let me volunteer and help with coaching the girls' basketball team. So ironically, Rockridge, our crosstown rival, is where my coaching debut started. 4 weeks after my student teaching, I was asked to interview for a biology position at Hickman High School. The principal of Hickman was supposed to be a taskmaster. I remember the flabbergasted look that our district science director and our science department chair had when my principal looked at me and said, Tonya, if I gave you a ball on a fast break, what would you do with it? I said, well, I'm a guard. I take the ball and run with it. Well, little did I know, the job I was interviewing for started the following Monday. A teacher had been released, and I was going to start Monday after Thanksgiving before I'd even finished my student teaching. The following year, I was given the assistant girls basketball job at Hickman under Julie Summer-Schellett. 4 years later, our principal, Dee Korn, and athletic director John Kelly gave me the opportunity to become Hickman's third head coach. I jumped with fierce intensity and passion into the game that had been a pivotal part of my life since I could remember. I didn't even know that officials were people, or that they had families. There didn't seem to be an opposing coach I wanted to talk to. I thought they were the enemy. Furthermore, I think I was so demanding as a coach on my players. I think back at the first groups I coached and know God must have had a hand in it. I was given the most supportive parents and the hardest working group of girls. I was given the opportunity to teach my passion to a group of young ladies. What an absolute high. I still remember that first team. Ironically, on that first team was Courtney Haskell, my longtime assistant coach, who still was the toughest kid I ever coached. Again, God must have had a plan in my basketball relationship. I was blessed to have two of the greatest basketball coaches to assist me, Clark Swisher and Sandy Paulson. Both had previously been head basketball coaches. Their wisdom and experience helped guide me in becoming the coach I am today, and they still are very special friends. As the coaching years mounted, I became a different coach. Again, God must have had a plan. I became a coach who had children, and I realized that these kids I coached were someone else's children. I also realized the officials were people with families, and the opposing coaches were my peers. I look forward to playing teams to reconnect with the coaches and talk about their lives and families. One particular special relationship was with Coach Stephanie Phillips at Kickapoo. We had heated battles on the court, but a true friendship outside the lines. I became more familiar with the coaching fraternity and became the Northeast Girls District Rep for the MBCA, thanks to David Fox. Several years later, I became the first treasurer of the MBCA and further enriched my life through meeting more coaches. Each season brought its unique athletes, personalities, challenges, and experiences. Each season was a roller coaster, managing the highs and lows, the challenge of getting a group of girls to give up some of their individualism to work for a greater goal than they could achieve on their own. The power of truly working for one goal and one purpose. I found this experience magical. It doesn't happen without a lot of work or sacrifice on everyone's part, but that was the ultimate goal every year. The years this materialized were the years we had the strongest relationships with our players. Our coaching staff could be very honest and challenging. We could push them beyond what they thought were their limits and ask for more. It worked because they trusted us and we had a relationship. So many memories. One particular memory stands out. The first time we won the quarterfinal game and were headed to the Final Four, I brought the Shania Twain CD into the locker room and sang a song that represented our season to the kids. The whole coaching staff started singing, and so did all the girls. To this day, when I hear that song, it brings a flood of memories back. I heard it the other day and mentioned it on Facebook. Virtually every player on that team made comments. 2 players have lost their lives from that team. Each funeral has brought every player back and their parents. The bond between us is unique. Basketball brought that group together. During another season, I remember trying to get the kids pumped up to play at the start of the game. I gave them several opportunities to try to do it their own way. Finally, I told them that we were just going to have to do things the old-fashioned way. Now, they took kind of a pause at that. I brought in a jukebox into the locker room and started blasting Joe and Jess' I Love Rock and Roll. Worked for us, so it became the kids' theme song for the rest of the season. These are just flashes of memories. Many are just too personal to mention in a public forum like this. But as most of you are coaches in this room, you know what I'm talking about. What this is boiling down to is I started off wanting to play basketball with my brother and his friends, and found basketball gave me the opportunity and humbling power to teach life's biggest lessons to a group of young ladies in which their adult life was just beginning. What an awesome job.